Hi students, myself Satish Kumar. In this video lecture, I'm going to present the array of 2-point sources with currents of equal amplitude but opposite phase. Opposite phase means the phase difference between the two adjacent antenna elements is 180 degrees. Okay. So that's what for that particular case, we are going to find out the radiation pattern. So this is actually nothing but the end fire array case. This is the end fire array case. Okay, I'll be writing here end fire array. We can also call it as EFA, but for 2-point source. Okay, so array of 2-point sources with currents of equal amplitude but opposite phase means 180-degree phase difference between them. And this is the diagram, okay, which we can use. The same diagram we can use it for this particular case also, right? And this is the far distant point at which you have to find out electric field intensity due to the first source, and E2 is the electric field intensity due to the second source. And at this point you need to find out the total electric field intensity, which is equal to E1 plus E2. Okay, so this is a very simple derivation because we have already derived the expression for the phase angle between the 2-point sources, and that phase angle will be calculated from the path difference. Okay, so let us try to see what is the path difference that we have got. 1 dash, 2 dash, this is 1 dash and this is 2 dash, which is the path difference, and that path difference we have already got it as d cos theta, d by 2 cos theta plus d by 2 cos theta, but this is in meters and we expressed that in terms of lambda as d by lambda cos theta wavelengths. Okay, from this we have got the expression for phase angle or phase difference. Okay, phase angle or phase difference, which is denoted by psi, which is equal to 2 pi into path difference. 2 pi into path difference, and we ultimately get the expression for that as beta d cos theta. Okay, so even if you know, because the question can be asked in different way. If you directly ask this particular case, then you have to derive the entire thing. What is path difference, and from that, what is the phase angle? Okay, okay. Once you get that, you call this is equation number 1. Now our intention is to find out the total electric field intensity at a far distant point. For that, we require the knowledge of what is E1 and what is E2, and what is the meaning of their amplitudes are same and opposite in phase. Here I may be talking about currents of equal amplitude and opposite phase. Because of those currents of equal amplitude and opposite phase are excited, these two antenna elements 1 and 2, you will get the phase, you will get the electric field intensity at a far distant point will also be in the same way. If these two amplitudes are same, the resultant electric field intensity E1, E2 amplitudes will also be same. If these two are excited with phases of 180-degree phase difference, the electric field intensities will also be of same phase difference. That's what you should understand. But what is the exact meaning of both the antenna array elements are of opposite phase? Let us first see what is E1 and what is E2. Okay, so let E1 be the field or electric field at a far distant point, right? Let us call that is P. And E2 be the field at the same far distant point. But as we know from the case title, we know that the field intensities are of same amplitude but of opposite phase. Okay, and the minimum phase or the general phase angle or phase difference between the two fields will be psi, because the two antenna elements will have a common phase difference of psi. Okay, so the same phase will also be obtained in E1 and E2. We have already written the expression for E1 and E2 as E naught, which is equal amplitude, but we'll try to write it later. E naught 1, let us call it as E power minus, in the previous case, we have written it as J psi by 2, right? I'll try to write that now. And what is E2 is E naught 2 into E power plus J psi by 2. But the phase difference from the title, what we are getting is there is a phase difference of 180 degrees between each other. Okay, that 180 degree phase difference should be shown here. Okay, so that is E power minus J, 1 minute. Yeah. Okay, E power minus J psi by 2 plus pi. Pi are 180 degrees, and that 180 degrees is included here. And it is E naught 2 e power j psi by 2. Okay, now if you observe, this psi by 2 is the phase difference in the second, due to the second element, and psi by 2 plus pi is the phase difference in the first field component. Why we should take first? Okay, why not we include that pi in the second one? You can do that, and finally you can take minus common and you can get the same expression. It doesn't make any difference even if you keep this pi here or here. Okay, just for convenience I am taking here, because this psi by 2 minus of minus psi by 2 minus pi, because minus you have to multiply both, then what you will be getting is psi by 2 plus psi by 2 is psi, plus minus into minus plus is plus. Okay, so this is the general phase difference that I mentioned already, and there is an extra phase difference of pi between the two elements. Okay, if you take pi here, you will be getting the same pi. Okay, it doesn't make any pi by 2 psi by 2 plus pi, minus of minus psi by 2 will be psi plus pi. Okay, both are same. Okay, or else you can take my psi by 2 minus pi also. Okay, because the phase difference can be plus 180 degrees or minus 180 degrees, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, that's what. So along with the general phase shift or phase angle psi, there will be an extra phase of pi which will be getting from the title. Okay, that is this opposite phase, means 180 degree phase difference, right? So once you get that, okay, you will try to find out what is E naught 1 and what is E naught 2. From the title, what we also know is the amplitudes of the currents is same. Then we will also get the amplitudes at the phases will also be, sorry, at the fields will also be same. Okay, E naught 1 is equal to E naught 2 is equal to E naught, and you can split this as E1 is equal to, in place of E naught 1 you write E naught into E power minus j psi by 2 into E power minus j pi. Okay, I'm just splitting. Okay, I'm not doing anything different. E naught into E power minus j psi by 2 into E power minus j pi is, if you write it is like E power j theta, that is cos theta, that is cos pi, and plus sine of minus theta. Okay, that you will be getting sine of minus theta is minus sine theta, so minus j into sine pi. So cos pi is minus 1 minus 0, it is j into 0 is 0, it is minus 1. So you will have to multiply this with minus 1, because e power minus j pi is minus 1. So what ultimately we will be getting is minus e naught into e power minus j psi by 2. This will be the expression for E1. And similarly, E2 expression is E naught 2 is equal to E naught, because amplitudes are same, E power j psi by 2. Okay, so once we get these, remaining is very easy. You just need to find out the total electric field intensity at point P. then E total will be equal to E1 plus E2. That E1 is minus, okay, I have written here, this is E1 and this is E2. Okay, just substitute these two values, minus E naught e power minus j psi by 2 plus E naught e power plus j psi by 2, and take E naught common. Et will be equal to E naught into e power j psi by 2 minus e power minus j psi by 2. But what is missing here is, because it is minus, you need to arrange 2j. Instead of 2, you have to arrange 2j and 2j at both the numerator and denominator. Then it will become sine psi by 2. Okay, here in place of theta, you have psi by 2. Then what you will be getting is 2j E naught or J2 E naught, anything is fine. If you want me to write J before that. Okay, so J2 E naught into sine psi by 2. Okay, this will be the total electric field intensity at a far distant point. But for getting the radiation pattern for this entire array of 2-point sources, we don't just need total electric field intensity, we need normalized component. Okay, E normalized will be equal to Et by Et max. Okay, Et max will be obtained when you take the maximum value of sine is +1. Then what the maximum value will be, Et max is equal to J2 E naught. Okay, so Et will be J2 E naught sine psi by 2 by J2 E naught. Okay, this and this gets cancelled. What you are finally getting is sine psi by 2. This is your array factor or normalized field component, which is also called array factor. But you know already that psi is equal to beta d cos theta. Beta d cos theta, but this beta d cos theta, if you substitute in this E normalized, then what we will be getting is sine of beta d. Beta d, I'll be writing what is beta is 2 pi by lambda, and d separation, which we always assume is lambda by 2, but it can be changed. But for the general case, we'll be always taking it as lambda by 2 cos theta. Okay, so then we will be getting the same expression, 2 pi by lambda. Okay, by 2 we are missing, right? Okay, beta d sine psi by 2. Okay, so this is by 2, right? 2 to getting cancelled, and what we will be getting is E normalized is equal to, I told you in the last lecture itself, there you have got it as cos pi by 2 cos theta. Here you will be getting sine pi by 2 cos theta, sine of pi by 2 cos theta. This is your normalized field component. Once you get this, you need to calculate 3 very important parameters. Okay, so first one, for getting the radiation pattern or for drawing the radiation pattern, you require 3 very important angles. Okay, the first angle is maxima direction or major lobe maxima direction. We can also call it as simply major lobe direction. Okay, let us denote that with theta maximum. Okay, theta maximum. Once to get that theta maximum, what you have to do is you have to equate that normalized field component to plus or minus 1. Okay, because it can be plus 1, it can be minus 1. So I'll be equating. Okay, so you have to write that to get the maxima direction or theta maximum, equate this particular component to plus or minus 1. If you want, I'll write it. To get the maxima direction of major lobe, we have to equate we have to equate the normalized field component to plus or minus 1. Okay, equate that now. What you will get? Sine of pi by 2 cos theta is equal to plus or minus 1. Now what you will be getting is sine of pi by 2 cos theta is plus or minus 1. Then what is pi by 2 cos theta? Because it is maxima direction, you equate it to theta maximum. Sine inverse of plus or minus 1. What is the value of sine where you will be getting plus or minus 1? It is plus or minus 2n plus 1 into pi by 2. Okay, this is a value where you will be getting n equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. Right? Okay, so substitute n equal to 0, 0. Then what you will be getting is in place of n, if you put place 0, it is plus or minus pi by 2, right? And this is also pi by 2 cos of theta max. Theta max. This and this getting cancelled. So cos theta maximum is equal to plus or minus 1. For what value of theta maximum you are getting plus or minus 1? Directly you can say it is 0 degrees and 180 degrees. That's it. This is the maxima direction of the major lobe, which itself indicates that the wave is, the array is radiating along the array axis. I'll show you that in the diagram. No need to worry. Okay. So once we get this maxima direction, then you have to find out the second case, which is minima direction. Minima direction. The minima direction is nothing but null direction. Minima direction is nothing but null direction, the direction of nulls. Okay. So what you have to do is you equate that to get this minima direction or null direction, that is 0 radiation direction, equate sine of pi by 2 cos theta to 0, because you have to get radiation, because this is the field component, right? This field component, when it is 0, that means there is no radiation. That is what is this null direction is, right? So equate this now. Sine of pi by 2 cos theta is equal to 0, and pi by 2 cos theta minimum is equal to sine inverse 0. So that you will be getting it for the case of plus or minus n pi, where n equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. Here also, even if you go for n equal to 2, you may be getting a doubt, sir, why don't we substitute 2? If you substitute 2, it will be crossing 1. So when cos angle itself is, if its value is crossing 1, you don't get any value. Okay, theta, you don't get any value. It is beyond that cos angle. Okay, because the maximum range of cos or sine is plus or minus 1 only. Here you substitute n equal to 0, then cos theta minimum will be getting is equal to 0, because when this is 0, 0 by pi by 2, then obviously theta minimum what we are getting is only two values, 90 degrees and 270 degrees. Okay, this is the direction in which the radiation is 0. Okay, next, third case is half power point direction. Okay, by using this we can get half power beam width. Okay, that is what is half power point direction, right? Okay, so for getting this, equate, you have to write every time, equate sine of pi by 2 cos theta to plus or minus 1 by root 2, because this is the value of half power point values. Okay, now sine pi by 2 cos theta is equal to plus or minus 1 by root 2, right? Plus or minus 1 by root 2. Then what we will be getting for pi by 2 cos theta, where we call this is half power point direction, sine inverse of plus or minus 1 by root 2. As I have already mentioned, it is plus or minus 2n plus 1 into pi by 4. Pi by 4 is 45 degrees. Sine 45 is 1 by root 2, and if you place it is 1, 3 pi by 4, which is 135, 90 plus 45, like that, or 180 minus 45. Anything is will be giving you 1 plus or minus 1 by root 2. Okay, then you substitute n equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. Right, if you put n equal to 0, then cos theta half power point direction will be, when you put n equal to 0, this will become 0, pi by 4, pi getting cancelled, 2, it goes twice. Okay, then plus or minus 1 by 2. So the theta half power point directions, last time also we have got the same thing. It will be, because it is also cos, the same angle 60 degrees. 180 minus 60 is 120, 180 plus 60 is 240, 360 minus 60 is 300. These are all the half power point directions for the case of 2-point array for end-fire array case. Okay, so how you can take these same half power point angles for drawing the radiation pattern. Okay, now by using these values, okay, if you want, I'll write all these values at one place. Theta maximum will be 0 and 180, right? And theta minimum, that is null directions, will be 90 and 270, and half power point directions will be 60, 120, 240 and 360. Now let us try to use these for drawing the radiation pattern, right? Okay, so I'll be taking the radiation pattern. Okay, so let us take a line horizontally, then also take a line which is vertically, right? Okay, now what you do is, this is represent the theta angles. Okay, this is always theta equal to 0 degrees, this is 90 degrees, this is 180 degrees and 270 degrees, right? Theta maxima direction is along 0 and 180, right? That means your lobe, maximum major lobe, will be along this 0 and 180 degrees. Okay, you will have to take a very big lobe. Okay, right, you can take even in a better way. Okay, so this is how the major lobes will be getting around along 0 and 0. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so this is how we'll be getting. Okay, try to adjust. Right, okay, so I'll just fill this. Okay. Right, okay, because it's dark, it's not perfectly visible, so try to observe. Okay, this everything is the radiation which is present. Radiation will be in the form of lines. Okay, but I'll be just showing this lobe. everywhere the radiation is present. Okay, here also everywhere the radiation is present. Right? Okay. But don't just think that the radiation is only present in these lobes. It will be moving. It will go up to the some hundreds and thousands of kilometers. That's where the field will be calculated at a very far distant point. Okay. So now if you observe carefully, everywhere the radiation will be present except along this 90 degrees. This is a 90-degree angle and this is a 270-degree angle. Okay, everywhere if you just take, let's slightly more than that, 271 if you think, but it is the radiation is covering like this. Okay, here also radiation is covering like this. Okay, there is no way you you will not have radiation in other angles. Okay, so you will have a radiation everywhere except along 90 degrees and 270. These are the only two angles through which the radiation won't be present, because they are the null directions in which there is no radiation which is present. Okay, as per theoretical concepts, right? This is the radiation pattern. Okay, and in this you have to mention half power points. Okay, there where 60 will be somewhere here. Okay, 60 will be somewhere here. Next 120 will be here. 240 will be somewhere here, and then 300 is somewhere here. Okay, so these are the half power points directions. For this particular lobe you have to take like this, and for this particular lobe you have to take like this. Okay, and this is what is your half power beam width, HPBW. And next is another, for the other half power point, for the other lobe, half power point is going through like this, and for the other one it is like this, and this is also absolutely equal to the previous half power beam width value. Okay, if this is 120 degrees and this is 240, okay, the half power beam width will be around 120, because 240 minus 120 is 120, and this is also 120 degrees. Okay, this is how you have to draw the radiation pattern. It is an absolutely end-fire array, because in the first lecture what I told is end-fire array in which the elements are excited with currents of equal amplitude and opposite phase or 180 phase difference. And the second point which I told you is the radiation will be along the array axis. See, if you take, this is one array element and this is another array element whose distance is, let's say, lambda by 2, d is equal to lambda by 2. If you join these two elements, this is called array axis. This is called array axis, and your radiation pattern will be along the array axis. This is what you have to observe. So it's a blind way of remembering. For broadside array, radiation will be perpendicular to the array axis. For end-fire array, radiation will be along the array axis, because this you will have to use it for n element array and all the cases. This is a blind way of remembering. For broadside array, radiation pattern is perpendicular to the array axis, and if end-fire array, radiation pattern is along the array axis. Then what is array axis? You just need to join all the elements of an antenna array. You will be getting the array axis. For that axis, if the radiation pattern is perpendicular, then that array is broadside array. If the radiation pattern is along the array axis, that is end-fire array. Okay, thank you very much. If you like these videos, please subscribe my channel. And in the next class or next lecture, we will be seeing the third case, which is array of 2-point sources which are of unequal amplitude and any phase. Okay, that's what we will be seeing, right? Thank you.